It was pretty cold here this morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, coming in I think it was like 14 degrees.
14?
Yeah.
So you've got 50 acres here.
Yep.
16 plus acres of grapes, right? But it's pretty spread out. You must have microclimates. You must get a range in temperature.
Even from the top part of our hill to the bottom part, I'd say we have an average of about 2.5 degree difference. So that's enough difference where we have to plant cold hardy varieties lower and some less sensitive stuff up top.
Wow.
But it definitely changes. And during the summer too, you get colder at night and all that kind of stuff.
What's the bottom line temperature where you start to get really nervous?
Anything below zero.
Anything below zero.
Definitely losing sleep after that. So we've had a couple of those nights this winter, but it depends on a lot of other factors, and you never know the damage till the spring a lot of times. So
right. See what starts to come back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, we're not just a couple of guys sitting around talking about the weather. This is Zona, the Grapes Unwrapped. I'm with Mike Beneduce Vineyards. Mike, good to see you again.
Yeah,
Mike's been a pal for a while, and we've done events together, and we talked together, and we've tasted together. And I was talking with producer Mike yesterday, and I said, there's snow on the ground. Mike, let's go visit a winery. So I shot off a message to Mike and says, Mike, I want to come out and see what's happening at the winery because it's snow on the ground. It's 14 degrees. What perfect time to take a drive out and see things. So basically what I've been wanting to do with Mike, and hopefully we're going to kick it off now, is I really want to do like a year look into a vineyard, into a winery, especially in the Northeast, in New Jersey, what it's like and the realities of it, give people sort of an inside view of it. So and here we are. The inside view is what people expect people to see in the tasting room.
This is my job all day.
Mike just sit with a bottle of wine open, and so we may as well start with the January high point.
Absolutely.
Which is sharing a glass of wine, and this is
our Blue 2, so 2014 Blue 2. So the grape variety is Blaufränkisch. It's an Austrian grape. We're kind of focused on Austrian and Northern French and Italian grapes here. Seem to grow really well in our Hunterdon County climate. And so this is kind of like I describe it as a mix between Pinot Noir and Syrah. So it's got that kind of spiciness to it.
Got a little pepperiness to it. I tasted it before.
Yeah. Still very acid driven, so it's a great food wine.
It's got great color.
Yeah.
It's got a nice nose, and I did taste it before. I'll taste it again. It's really got a nice peppery touch to it without
definitely some spice. I always think like in a good year it gets this like Chinese 5-spice aroma to it, which is just this nice kind of complexity to it.
Yeah, and I know that's your focus with your wines. You are trying to produce wines that are food friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, my experience with wine has always been at the dinner table.
So we're unfortunately not going to sit here all afternoon and just talk about the weather and things like that. I mean, we're going outside, aren't we? We're going to go spend some time in the vineyard, which is what all people love to do. That romanticized stroll through the vineyard. We're going to do that today. But one of the things I noticed while we're talking, and we're going to go, take a break, and then we're going to take a look at it. You've got ice on your tanks in here, and it's not because of the weather. No,
not that cold.
Not that cold in here. No, can't see our breath. So we're going to come back in a moment, and we're going to find out why there's ice on the tanks, and then complete our little January sojourn. So this is Riesling, and this is from this past harvest.
Yeah. So this is our 2017 Riesling. So you can see it's a little bit cloudy, kind of like a blue beer. So this is unfiltered still. So we'll go through this cold stabilization process. Next week we'll filter this, and then it'll be pretty much getting ready to bottle. We'll bottle this up in a week.
Wow.
So, smells really good. It's very cold when you taste it. I mean, this is a freezing wine, but 17 was a really nice year for us. Really bright aromatics, kind of this limey, citrusy flavor to it, very floral.
Yeah, I mean, even though it's cold, and cold kills the taste buds.
Right.
You keep it in your mouth, the flavors are really coming through.
Yeah.
It's really great. It's pretty.
Glad you like it.
Yeah. Cheers. Super. Cheers. Okay, hate to say it. I think we need to go outside now. Be back in a moment. Oh, man. Do I have to? We're really going to go out here, aren't we, in the frozen tundra.
Your cozy house. You get to see how the half lives.
I'm not at my kitchen table right now with the heated floor. This is.
But I bet you'll appreciate the wine after this.
You know what? When I came to that harvest with you a few years back, it gave me a lot more appreciation, and it's important not to be a poser. So last time I was at Beneduce Vineyards, I was barefoot in shorts, listening to a band, drinking glasses of wine, walking in the grass.
Good times.
And yes, and that was August, September, probably September,
Right.
and it's there's no grass here, Mike.
No,
What happened?
it's under there.
It's under there somewhere.
4 inches
Right.
of snow.
So we're going to dispel this whole notion that it's a glamorous and sexy life that you live owning a winery in New Jersey or anywhere in the Northeast for that matter. It's below freezing. There's a nice breeze here today.
Yeah.
But work's got to be done. I mean, you guys don't shut down in January. This is not a seasonal operation. It's a year-round
Definitely
operation.
not. I mean, this crop is a year-round crop. So really, with the exception of November, after we're done harvesting, we're out here year-round. So, it's starting in January 1st, we start pruning. Takes us 3 months to hand prune
Happy
everything.
New Year.
Yeah, exactly. So all these vines are hand pruned. We've got almost 20,000 vines.
Wow.
Somebody has to go through and prune each one, and it's definitely an art form. It's not something that you can do with machines to the way that we do it. And I think the quality of our wine a lot of times is dictated by how well we prune.
And why are you pruning? And
Sure.
And why is this important, and why is it getting done now?
Sure. So I mean, you can see this is a vine that's gone dormant. So just like
Yep.
a maple tree, it drops its leaves in the fall.
About
goes
6.5, 7 feet high now.
Yep, about 7 feet. Drops its leaves, goes dormant in the winter. So these buds are alive, but they're basically sleeping.
Okay.
So when the plant is sleeping like this in the winter is when we want to go through and select the buds that we want to start our next season with.
So we'll be right back, and Mike's going to give us a lesson on pruning.
Cool.
I mean, there's a lot of vine here. Most people are going to say, well, you're wasting grapes, but you're not really, not at all.
Yeah,
I mean, you're waiting for new growth.
Waiting for new growth. The vine will be more productive if you prune it the right way than if you just had left everything. Right, so
Yeah.
you need to basically concentrate the energy of the vine into the buds that you want to leave for the remaining year. All right, so basically what we're doing is, first thing we're doing is selecting the trunks. So we have 2 trunks.
Mhm.
These are the main trunks.
Yep.
They're permanent wood, so they're gonna last for probably about 10 years before we have to replace them.
Okay.
These vines are actually about 10 years old now, so you can see we're bringing up a trunk here to replace one.
Mhm.
A lot of times if a trunk gets damaged or it's crooked or something, we'll want to replace it. So that's kind of like our spare trunk. So
Right.
the first thing we're gonna do is just kind of clean that up. And so we have these 2 trunks. Now from each trunk, we're gonna pick one shoot. So a shoot is gonna be picked from, this is the last year's growth, right? So this all was 2017 growth.
Yep.
All was new growth last year. We're gonna pick one of those from each trunk, lay it down across this bottom wire, this fruiting wire, and basically make like a T. So we'll have the trunks and then the canes that we'll lay down. And you can see last year, this was a current year's growth. So this is 2-year-old wood now.
Yep,
See,
yep.
it's a little bit harder.
Yep.
So basically we're gonna do that. And really the selection of this has to do with a couple things. You wanna look at the quality of the wood. So how much sunlight it got that year. It'll actually change the color of the wood. You wanna make sure it has no disease spots on it. You wanna make sure it's starting from the right area. So it's actually like a game of chess. You gotta think like 3 years ahead.
Right.
So we're gonna start with this one because it's a nice, good one. Nice and straight, clean wood. It starts all the way down here. So we're basically gonna cut that.
Wow. So you're really, you're doing a spot analysis.
Yeah. I mean, and each shoot is really selected by hand. So, that side is basically done. We'll clean that up after.
Yep.
We have our trunk here. And then we have a couple options. 1, 2. Oh, Louie, good.
Hey,
You're
Louie,
back.
how are you?
Couple options here. We have this one, this one, and this one. This is a little bit too thin, so I'd be
Yep.
worried about that making it through the winter.
Right.
So I'd disqualify that. And then based on these other 2, we've got this one and this one. They look equally thick, and this one starts a little bit lower, so I like that better.
Okay.
So we're gonna keep that one.
Eventually.
So then basically what we're gonna do is go through and just clean up the rest of this. It's just a T. So we're gonna lay
Got
this
it.
one down across the bottom.
Okay.
This one here is gonna lay down across the bottom. So we actually go through, we clip off even all these little tendrils. The idea is that we don't want any more wood in the vineyard than we absolutely need, because any piece of old wood is a source for disease or fungus.
Gotcha.
So you don't want that stuff to build up. You want to basically start as clean as you can. So you're ending up basically with that after all what we started with. We just have about 19,999 to go.
Left to go.
That's it.
That's amazing. So this is the glamorous life.
This is January for a
Of
winemaker
January
and
for a
a
winemaker.
grape grower, and it's real farming.
But I think it's good for people to know what goes on in the quote-unquote off-season, because there is no off-season really.
Yeah,
You're a 12-month operation.
Yep.
This is Hank Zona of the Grapes Unwrapped with Mike Beneduce. As always, trying to bring you really interesting stories with interesting people, good stories, and Mike certainly fits that bill. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time in the Grapes Unwrapped.